Good evening, everyone, and good evening out there on Facebook Live. My name is Troy Richardson, and I am so pleased and blessed to host this Zoom conversation in which we call Grow Your Mind. And we have this every Thursday, every month, the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I have some special friends that always join me. And this is a community of just giving and loving and sharing. And again, I'm just extremely pleased and blessed that God has put these people in my life. And I want to share them with you. I'm not selfish. And this Zoom conversation is geared towards our educators, right? If our children are our greatest gift, then what does that make our educators who spend so much time with them, right? And we know what they go through day after day, the struggles, the low pay, on and on. I can go on, but this is one way that we can give back by sharing this information and hopefully get it into the schools so that they can use this as a teaching mechanism so our kids can not only learn about growing their own fresh produce, but eating it and just having fun while doing it, not even realizing that they are learning. And it's not only for the kids, but the adults learn too, like me. I learn so much every time I get together with these folks, and I expect the same tonight. But I really hope that you get something out of this tonight that you can take back to maybe a school that you're associated with, a teacher you might know, any educator out there, you want to share this with them because, again, it is impactful information. And I cannot wait for you to hear these speakers tonight. But I'm going to get right into this. Let me just say, if you are a guest on here, please put your name and who invited you. And if you're a teacher, put your school on there so we can shout out your school for you. But we're going to get right into this. So we're going to go ladies first. So I want to introduce this young lady who hails from Georgia, just a phenomenal giver. Again, biggest heart and one of my heroes in this community. She just grows so many things, and she just started growing tea, which now I'm gonna go get some tea. And this is the thing, we inspire one another. But Laurie Weeks, welcome and thank you so much for joining.
Troy, thank you so much, and thank you for putting this together and inviting us to share our love of the Tower every single month. Because as we grow together as a community, we are impacting more and more lives every single day. You know, it was about 3.5 years ago, I was introduced to the Tower Garden, but I came in through the Juice Plus door. Someone mentioned to me, actually my neighbor, that she floods her body with over 30 whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and berries every single day. And she also grows her own food. And she was sharing with me the impact that had on her health and on her family's health. And I knew that that was something that I always wanted to do, but I thought it would be so super complicated and time consuming that I had never really given it a good shot, even though I was experiencing some health conditions, as was my husband, you know, chronic fatigue. I was not getting good rest. I was experiencing weight gain and hair loss. And I really, was trying to work out, but wasn't able to keep up with my ambition. I'm so glad this neighbor stopped and had this conversation with me. By incorporating, fruits and vegetables in a capsule into my every single day, I started immediately seeing changes. The first thing that I noticed was that I was sleeping so much better. And my personality, where I used to struggle in the morning, I just felt like I was becoming more of a morning person. That hair loss I was experiencing, oh my goodness, my hair has returned and has grown in thicker and full like it was in my youth. And other health issues that I was experiencing are gone away. Now, I'm not making any kind of claims at all. And I just want to share my personal testimony that for my husband and I, we today live prescription-free lives. And a big part of that has been adding the tower garden to our everyday. You know, I spent 13 years as an educator teaching children, and I often wish that I had had an opportunity to use this in my classroom. So I'm excited today that I get to speak to schools and nursing homes and daycare centers and churches about growing their own food. I love what I've been able to do right on my own backyard, providing fresh, homegrown, no pesticide, clean, vine ripened food right on my back patio every single day. So I've asked Henry if he would share a video for me, and I'm going to walk you through what my back patio looks like. Now, mind you, I'm coming into this with absolutely zero gardening experience, but the Tower Garden makes it so easy that this is what I'm able to do. Thanks. All right, so here is my tower garden, and you can see right here, we have kale and collards, and look at my tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, Roma tomatoes. I just have them right here, Swiss chard, cabbage, Adriana lettuce, romaine lettuce, bell peppers, sweet peppers, lunchbox peppers, jalapenos. And what I love is that I'm able to try foods that I don't get to see in the grocery store. And so I'm experiencing so many different types and varieties of food. You just saw my spring onions. And then right here, I'm growing cauliflower. Now, this is the tower that Troy was referencing. This is my tea tower. And so I'm now steeping my own teas to really infuse, you know, even the waters that I'm drinking with more nutrients, with chamomile, echinacea, lemon balm. There you see some lavender, but you also saw some squash and tarragon, basil, rosemary, and even those pansies that are right on top, they are absolutely edible. And I'm even growing sunflowers and was able to harvest those sunflower heads and get some seeds. And these are some green beans that I'm growing right there. I love that this is my strawberry tower. Strawberry season is extremely short, but I am still growing towers even all the way into November. And then right here, you know, the tower garden is so versatile. I've made great use of this wall that is right on side of the patio, where I can take the cucumber and the squash and drape them right over the side and look at what's growing all the way through. I love that, you know, look how much plant this tower is able to support. And I'm going to pan right back here so that you can see I have just a little bit of space. All of this, I feel like I have a farmer's market right in my own backyard. Now I'm going to fast forward 3 weeks from this video, and I just wanted to show you one more quick thing. Right over here, look at all the cucumbers that came in growing right over that wall. I just love it. I was growing cantaloupe, melon, cucumbers are sitting right here. It was just like a bumper crop that I had. And then I want to show you all the way along the bottom. I was able to pull the vine out and just give it some more room, and look at these spaghetti squash that are sitting right down and just growing so easily. Thank you so much for sharing that video. You guys, with no experience at all, set it and forget it. I'm even on the road traveling right now, and I don't have to worry about the garden at all because it is just so very low maintenance. You guys, I'm extremely excited about what this tower garden can do for a family, what it can do for our bodies, and what it can do for our community. Thanks so much for letting me share tonight.
I mean, wow. Again, I know it's coming, but it still floors me. And again, Laurie is such an inspiration because She just put something out on Facebook, a new supplier for her. And what do you think I did, right? I'm not crazy. I went to that supplier and I have my sweet red peppers growing. I have my romaine lettuce. I have my zucchini squash, Thai basil, which is a healer. Just on and on and on, the inspiration we get. But before we get to Henry, I do have a special co-host that I wanted to come join me tonight because we share something. We're both vision impaired. People might not know. I've shared it with some people. I'm not afraid or not ashamed, but we're both vision impaired. And I want to tell a little bit about the other side of the Tower Garden. As Laurie alluded to, Juice Plus. We have these omegas, right? And those plant-based omegas, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, they concentrate on the brain, the heart, the skin, and your eyes. And I swear, Dr. Mitra Ray, she said that she takes 4 omegas, not for her eyes, but for other things. So I said, let me try to take 4, right? And the doctor said my optic nerve damage was irreversible, right? But I'm a strong faith and I'm a believer. So I know that God can make miracles, right? And I'm telling you, I went to the doctor and I said, listen, I know what you said, but my eyes are getting better. I know they are. Things are clearer and colors are more vivid to me. So you just wait. I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to be 100% restored to 2020. But that's my story on the power of plants and what this community can do. From Laurie to the many doctors that we happen to be partners with, it's a true blessing. And there's no other community like this in the world. I'm so proud and again, so blessed to be a part of this because it literally has changed my life. But I want to introduce Avi Marie Cunningham out of Georgia. And Avi, she is in the education arena today. So Avi, welcome and please share a few minutes of your beautiful story. Unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Like Troy has said, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. And so I have only central vision at this point, no peripheral vision. And so what I've been able to do with changing my eating habits and infusing my body, just flooding my body with the quad, because I do all the fruits, the vegetables, the berries, and the omegas. It has truly helped my sight to where I haven't lost any more sight. The sight that I have is tunnel vision, but it is still holding. The last 3, 4 visits that I've gone to the doctor, it hasn't changed. It's still holding. And that's a praise dance, a testimony, and a blessing all in itself. Because like Troy, I'm praising God for the sight that I'm still able to have. And so it's amazing to just be able to go through life and just endure and enjoy and give God the praises for the things that you're able to accomplish. Just this community by itself is just a blessing because we all just lock arms with each other. We support each other. We learn from each other, and we just help lift and climb as we go. And so I do have my home tower garden that I would like to show you. My granddaughter helps me with it. She's 9. Just started a fresh new growing. Can you see? I don't know if it's positioned where you're able to see it. Can you see my tower?
Yes.
And that's only 1 week of growth. And so I have celery, lettuce, collard greens, cabbage, snap peas, spinach, kale, Swiss chard. And I'm not sure if that's everything I have, but yeah, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm growing. But there's nothing like it to just be able to just go to your tower garden and snap off what you need and put it on the plate or put it in your smoothie and and keep going. And I just feel great. At 62, I have more energy now than I did when I was 50. So I just thank you for allowing me to, share.
Well, we believe in the educators, Avi, and thank you for what you're doing with the kids that you come into contact with every day, and you're gonna need that energy. So don't stop doing what you're doing. Okay, but thank you so much. We love you. And now I
Love
want to
you
get into
too.
this. This is my brother right here, man. This dude, I love him like you wouldn't believe, man. He's funny. He's giving. I don't want to mention the football team he follows, but anyway, I still love him anyway. But Henry Gaffai Lee is just the epitome of a friend, a brother, someone who pours into you unconditionally. If you have a question about anything, you can turn to Henry, and he's going to be there for you. And he helped so many people in this community and literally around the world with his knowledge and what he has to offer, and is so willing to just share it. And I really appreciate him so much for doing this every month with me, because Henry could be doing speaking engagements, garnering thousands of dollars. He literally is an expert um, with so many things, and he's humble. He's shaking his head, but that's just who he is, right? But we all appreciate him. We love him. Henry Lee, welcome and thank you, my brother.
Oh my goodness, Troy, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. And you talked me up too much. This is where this is where I'd rather be. I wouldn't rather be out in front of millions of people out there. I love this community. That's one of the things that definitely attracted me to this career path, to this way of life. And so let me give you a little bit of background of myself. My journey actually started in the classroom. And so like many of you that are watching this live or the recording, then you come from a family or a family of educators, or you're an educator yourself, or you are in relation with educators out there for your kids or your friends and neighbors. And so like Troy said, I grew up here in Ohio, where I went to The Ohio State University. Go Buckeyes. And I got my master's there, ended up going into the classroom of where I grew up here in Dublin, Ohio. And so I taught human anatomy and physiology for about 14 years, environmental sciences, biologies, chemistries, pretty much anything under the sun. And instead of telling you about these tower gardens and how we use them in the classroom, I figured we would have one of our good friends, Dr. Stephen Ritz, show you how he uses it in his classroom, and then we'll dive a little bit more into the logistics and how you can get connected or connect your educator friends with this resource as well. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and let's see here. Give me a little thumbs up if you can see my screen. Yes, you can see it. Awesome. Okay, cool. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and stay on this slide for just a quick second. If you want to take your cell phone and take a snapshot of this, or a screenshot using your mobile device or your computer. As Troy said, we do this every month. We jump on here every third Thursday of the month. I know this data up here is a former one that we've had, but basically it gives you the Zoom link down at the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. I'll move my cursor so you can see it, and the password, so you can save it. You can mark it in your calendar as a reoccurring event. And I'm going to show you our little video by Dr. Stephen Ritz here, and mute myself so you can see how this is being practically used in the classroom.
My name is Stephen Ritz, and I am CEO, Chief Eternal Optimist of Bronx County. We're gonna actually grow our own lunch. We're going to grow our own food today. We're gonna go from seed to plate.
A tower garden is like this plant, but you don't need soil. And then the water comes up, and then it comes down and rain on the roots.
Adults think you can't farm in the South Bronx. Tell it to these kids. They're farming. For so many, food is the problem. Yet for all of us, food is a solution. We have some of the highest rates of juvenile diabetes and juvenile obesity in the nation. And we can change that. We absolutely have the power to change schools in this generation. I think I still see the seed.
That happens, exactly.
You mean I can pass it around and they can see the seed in the plant? My job is to teach kids how we can grow food. And I'm asking everyone to roll up their sleeves and get a little dirty and grow something greater.
He lets us plant stuff like salad, cucumbers, tomatoes.
My 4th and 5th graders came into a classroom with no windows to build a tower garden and literally turned it into a farm. And we talked about how healthy food builds healthy minds and healthy bodies, and where are we doing it? Right here in school. So did everybody plant a seed? Yeah! The excitement and the joy that these little kids feel putting a seed in the ground and watching it blossom. OMG, as they say, this is their moment.
I think he cares about us a lot, and he wants us to learn and have fun at the same time.
I'm not a farmer, but I'm planting seeds.
He always says, like, seeds are like people because they need love, and they grow and grow and grow to be successful people.
To use 21st century technology to generate food and to create this beautiful thing to sit by that you can actually eat is game-changing. It's empowering. They're growing. The plants are growing, and they're responsible for it. And when they know they can grow their own, they really start changing the way they see their relationship to the world and their place in it. That's a big one. You gonna eat it? Is it good? I love it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go back and then we're gonna get some. Now.
All right. So again, that was our friend, Dr. Stephen Ritz. He comes straight out of the Bronx of New York, where he started with a couple of tower gardens on the top floor of his classroom because his kids were curious about the seedlings that were growing out of the radiator. Someone had accidentally threw some seeds over there, and the rest is history. He now travels all over the world as an advocate for this awesome resource that you can put into your classroom no matter what age, whether it's preschool all the way up through college and beyond. And so this is what our classrooms look like now. On the left, you'll see here in Columbus Public City Schools, we have over 52 tower gardens that are spread out. Some in the school buildings, some of them are in a center called Urban Gems, where they have this mobile kitchen that you can see on the right-hand side. The students come in after school and they get a stipend for planting, maintaining, harvesting the produce, putting it into farmers markets. They teach their community the value of fresh produce, and they take the money that they get from the farmers markets and pour it right back into the program. And you can see Dr. Stephen Ritz down here at the bottom. This is what his classroom looks like now. So you might look at this picture and think, wait a minute, that's what my classroom used to look like 50 years ago. And unfortunately, we are one of the very few industries, the school system, that looks exactly how it did 50 years ago. Any other industry, you would think it's insane that it would look the same after so long. And so we get to be the source of change in the classroom. So instead of looking like this, what if we could transform your classroom into looking like this, where it's interactive, it is hands-on, it is not futuristic, it is the tool of today. And so again, whether you're looking at preschool all the way through elementary, middle school, and high school, this is a project-based learning, lesson plans included, and we'll show you how to access those free tools as well. And so just to give you an example of a lesson that I've taught in the classroom is about sustainability. Farmers are what keep us fed, and this is what our farmland is supposed to look like. Rich, lush, And unfortunately, desertification, urbanization, all sorts of different factors are drying up our land, taking the nutrients out of our soil. And so we can either watch this and become victims of it, or we can take a stand and make a difference. And so how does it work? Well, you can see here on the left, there's the basin down at the bottom, and there's two different models. We'll show you the differences and show you, what is probably the best option to go with for your particular classroom or even home. And what it does is there's a pump down at the bottom that pumps the water up through the center console. And then there's a trickle system that goes down, no moving parts. It just trickles over the roots. And over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, then you get a garden that looks like that. And so you can see some of the Swiss chard that Laurie was referring to, some of your herbs, your cabbages and kales and lettuces, and even bigger plants out of the bottom. You can put watermelons and anything that grows above the ground. And so this is a quick time lapse in motion. I'll show you this so you can see how fast it grows. Oh, guess it didn't go. Let's see if that works again. Here we go. So you can see when week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, because water is no longer a limiting factor, nor is light, because there's also lights that go with it as well, then it can continue growing even in the dead of winter here in Ohio. So this here is a picture of before and after of my tower garden here in Columbus. And this is a matter of 12 days difference. So you can see how fast it grows. And those are the LED lights that I was telling you about before. They are full spectrum. They are LED, so they don't get hot. They are safe for kids and pets. And in fact, you can take them and crash them against your head and they don't break because they are LEDs. They're very energy efficient, and this is what you can grow. So you can see a huge list of things that range from anywhere from lettuces to different types of fruits, like tomatoes and cucumbers and zucchinis. Here's another graphic that shows you a salad lover tower. Everything is included. It ships right to your classroom, and it'll have the timer, the pumps, the seeds, the seed grow kits, and everything. Of course, you can grow anything that you want. If you just go purchase seeds of your own, then that's perfectly fine. You don't have to purchase them through Tower Gardens per se. I'm going to skip this video just for time factor, but if you want to get back to the person who connected you with this resource or shared this video with you, then they'll explain exactly how the mechanism works on the inside out. And a couple of the benefits: it grows 3 times as fast, gives 30% more yield on average, 98% less water usage, 90% less space. And you can also see you can grow year round. I want to take a moment to pause on this. I love this first bullet point because when we first were introduced to this idea in my own classroom, we had a total lump sum of grant money of $11,000. We spent $8,000 outside making hoop houses and gardens and stuff like that. The leftover $3,000, we decided to invest in a few of these tower gardens with the lights and bells and whistles and everything. The $8,000 investment that we had sitting outside, by the time kids came in mid-August and they learned about photosynthesis and plant cells and sustainability, everything that we're teaching in advance to give them the infrastructure so they understand what they're going to be planting. By then, October hits and the first frost kills everything outside. So we couldn't actually plant until after the winter was over. We start planting again in March, and then we have April to mess around with the garden, and school gets out in May now. So basically use that $8,000 investment outside in the garden for a month and a half of the school year. Whereas the 3 tower gardens that we spent the remaining $3,000 on, we used year round to produce produce for our foods and fitness classes, our global gourmet, our special ed classes. We were able to put in business applications, math applications, environmental sciences, biology lessons, and taught about how plants don't really need soil. They need the stuff in the soil, very similar to the Juice Plus products, right? When you're eating an orange or an apple or peach or pineapple, you don't need the water in it. You can get water from other sources. In fact, you don't need the sugar either. Those are the 2 main constituents of apples, oranges, peaches, and pineapples. So if you can figure out a way to get rid of the stuff that you don't need, then you end up with the nutrients that you do benefit from in Juice Plus. Well, here's the same. Plants don't actually need all the soil. They need the stuff in the soil. And so we can give them this mineral blend that has the concentrated nutrients from the world's best soils. So it's even better than just an isolated soil from your local farm. And it's clean, it's food grade plastic, and it'll save you money. In fact, it'll pay it for itself over the course of a year. And beyond just the science classroom, right, we're changing the gut chemistry of the microbiome that exists in our students, because they're not eating what you and I might remember from our classroom days, those nasty chicken nuggets and the imitation macaroni and cheese, and maybe a slice of that cardboard pizza that has leftover sausage from the previous day's lunch. And they kind of feel bad, right? So they throw in a little cup of iceberg lettuce. And let's be honest, who actually eats the lettuce? I was one of those kids that just threw that away and ate all the fatty stuff. And so we can take the food from the tower garden, throw it into a salad bar, and the kids are actually learning about the fact that you are what you eat. Such an important concept. And so we can convert this into this. And I love the concept of down the bottom, you are what you eat. It is a term that you have probably heard before or even used before in your own language. And these kids are actually craving vegetables and fruits now because of the work that our teachers are doing with this project. In fact, Ohio State University and Cornell University discovered that kids that grow their own food are 5 times more likely to eat it than if they were just handed it. And going beyond their cravings, looking at the science, this is why their cravings change, is because when you feed your gut bacteria bad stuff like processed sugars and refined foods and fast food, then it literally secretes chemicals in your blood, communicating to the brain, feed me more of those donuts, feed me more of that fast food, feed me more of those potato chips. But when we feed our gut our vine ripened fruits and vegetables, then that's what our gut communicates to our brain to feed me more of that. So we're literally changing the cravings of this next generation. And this is nothing new. This is something that has been around for decades. Time magazine, Newsweek magazine, you name it, your genes only make up about 20% of your being. The other 80%, you can actually shift by your lifestyle. And a large part of that is what you put in your mouth, your diet. And so this is one of my favorite graphics. It shows you that literally what you eat becomes you. So next time when you're sitting down and taking a look at that McDonald's or Burger King, then ask yourself, do I want to build my DNA out of greasy fries and burgers? Or do I want to build it out of oranges and avocados and strawberries and mangoes? And so the applications to this are limitless. Beyond the classroom, we use it in the Ronald McDonald House for kids that are going through chronic illness. We use it in, again, preschools and daycares. We have it in partnerships within colleges and schools. We use it in community centers to teach how to meal prep and how to take these quote foreign uh, foods like zucchinis and pomegranates and whatever, and teach them how to prepare foods like that. This is one of my favorites. The kids get to collaborate with senior living places like the Kemper House of Worthington here in Columbus, Ohio, where it is a center for Alzheimer's and dementia residents. And they are learning how your brain is like a garden and the roots are nurtured by the food that we eat. I love that quote here that my friend Caitlin wrote on that board there. It goes beyond, again, we teach the kids the value of providing fresh food in place of food pantries that are loaded with canned foods. And again, I told you before, it'll pay for itself in a year. So this is a 6-month analysis of, you can see on the left, these are conventional prices of your produce in the grocery store. These aren't even organic prices. So you can see in the Tower Garden, how much produce, because it grows 3 times as fast, it will yield in a 6-month time frame. And this is how much money you can add those up and see how the investment, it is literally an investment, because after it pays for itself, then you're basically growing food for free for the next 25 years. And who wouldn't want that, right? And so 2 different models, again, back to the person who sent you this recording or brought you to this video, and they'll share with you the Tower Garden Home, which is 2 feet wide. If you have an end table at the end of your couch, then you have room for a Tower Garden, or the Tower Garden Flex, which you can add tomato cages and all sorts of stuff. Both you can put indoors or outdoors. And to summarize, in case you missed it here, again, the Tower Garden uses 98% less water than it would compared to soil. 90% less space gives you, on average, 30% more yield of what you grow into it, 3 times as fast. It's safe, nutritious, and it is no longer the future of growing. In fact, it used to be one of the main attractions in Epcot Center down in Disney World in Florida, and it's still there. But back in 2009, when they first put that exhibit up, and they're saying this is the land exhibit, which some of you are nodding your heads and you remember that. It's no longer the future of food. It is the now. In fact, we have Tower Gardens all over the world. Some homes have a single Tower Garden. Some even have 3 or more. And if you have 12 or more, then that's what we call a tower farm. And so I'm going to give you an example of a couple different tower farms that exist in the world. In fact, if you go to truegarden.com, you'll see this is one of my favorite tower farms down in Phoenix, Arizona. It's actually in Mesa, which is a suburb, and it produces and feeds a large part of Phoenix using the produce. You can buy seedlings there and stuff, and I would encourage you to check out, again, truegarden.com and look at the videos down at the bottom. Other tower gardens scattered all over the world, in the middle of Dubai, Spain. There's domes of these with dozens of these tower gardens that are more than 2 stories high. In fact, some of you have maybe even seen these in, let's see, I'm gonna click on this one, see if I can get it. Yeah, so O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, Illinois. Next time you have a layover, check out Terminal 2. There are 26 tower gardens that are 2 stories tall, and they use a lot of the produce for the 67 restaurants that are in there. So if you sit down at Max and Irma's or TGI Fridays and order a salad or a burger, the lettuce oftentimes, or chives or cilantro, come from the tower gardens. Other examples of pretty unique and fun places: in the middle of the ocean in Hawaii, in Alaska, in places like the Giant Stadium, and there's Scissortails Farms, and just all over the place, rooftop restaurants. So the kids get to learn how this is not just an isolated tool to the classroom, but they can actually use it all over the world, practical applications. And so we have a couple different albums that we can share with you about how tower gardens are being used in the world outside of the classroom, and how kids have been able to partner with those organizations. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share, and I'm going to turn it back over to our good friend and host, Troy Richardson.
Man, I don't know about the rest of you, but this blows me away every time. And I told you Henry was going to bring it. I told you he was going to bring it. 20% genes and 80% you can change the rest of your DNA, and 67 restaurants in O'Hare Airport. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate that. But
Welcome.
guys, please share this information. The most selfish thing any of us can do is to get this information and not share it. Just it's critical, not only this time that we're living in now, but for our future, for our kids, the generations to come. We need to make sure we position them in the healthiest way possible. So thank you all for coming. Some of my good friends, our good friends, Lynette, Tammy, thank you for always being loyal every month. And the rest of you, I don't mean to leave anyone out. I love everybody in this community and on this Zoom. And I hope to get to know you. Marlene, we got stories to share, so thank you. Zakaya, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you. And just appreciate you all so much. And I know you're going to share this information. And together we're going to make a difference. And I'm just looking forward to a world where my granddaughter is growing up in a healthy environment. And she does have the tower garden in her home. So I know she is. But again, thank you, everyone. God bless you all. And have a great rest of your week and a safe weekend. And a happy Thanksgiving to you also. So I'm going to stop the recording. Give me a second here.